The following is a fan-based discussion. All properties discussed are property of Toei Inc., Bandai, Hasbro, and Subaru Productions. Hello everyone! Welcome back to another episode of Tokucast Reviews, episode number 200. Marcus and Jacob here to discuss Kamen Rider Gavv, which, along with all of our reviews, is a spoiler review. This is a show that has just ended, so if you have not seen it, and you would like to, go finish it, come back unless you don't care about spoilers, in which case stick around. So here we are.
And I hope you end up watching the first episode of Zets, because that appears tonight as a filming premieres. I don't know why I say it appears, but I guess that also because he is going to appear in your dreams, because that's where he exists.
Yeah.
Let's start we always do.
The opening.
I still don't like it.
It grew on me.
It did not grow on me.
I think this one grew on me.
It's the singers. I don't fault them, but it didn't match. This is one of those songs where I don't want to hear it as an insert. It doesn't have the oomph factor to really drive like Revices did.
It doesn't, but like the more I listen to it, that first hook, like from the first couple notes, I'm like, yeah, this is all right, and it doesn't. You're right about it not having the impact. It like you feel like it's about to drop, but it never does. But even then, I still liked it. I don't think it's a bad song.
Like, I don't think it's a bad song. I just don't think it's great as an opening, especially because we were excluding Gotchard and Saber. For a lot of the Reiwa, we've had really good opening songs.
Well, I really like the Gotchard opening.
I hated it.
I know.
Just like everything else about that show, I hated it.
But we're at Gavv now. So we don't have to talk about that one.
To G number 3. G3.
Geats, Gotchard, Gavv.
Yep. On to Z. Or
G
Z.
From G to Z. Where would you like to start?
Production.
Okay.
Because this one was filmed about 3 months ahead of their normal schedule when they ended up coming to actually filming the show. Just a little bit about that. When they finished filming episode 1 and around the time they finished the film of the last one, you had the main characters, Shoma's, his actor, his birthday opened the book and bookended it.
Oh.
Yeah.
About a year in production total, but they did it in advance. Interesting.
Yeah, they did it much farther in advance than most of the seasons. So we got a little bit about this quite early, relatively, into Gavv's, near the end of Gavv's production. It mostly to do with, Chinese censors, because they wanted to film, show it there to get in front of piracy. And also, get around the Chinese censors, as their censors are oof. But yeah, the production on this is actually quite interesting because of that. Since everything ends up being filmed so far in advance, a lot of things end up being, the editing ended up being a little bit better this time around.
That was a point I wanted to bring up. Is from a filmmaking perspective, this is one of the most accomplished Kamen Riders I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. The editing, the choreography in the fight scenes, the way they utilize their space, everything feels so meticulously planned. Yeah. Up to a point. Yeah. But for, I would say, the first 43 episodes, and even beyond that to an extent, it really feels like they were like, okay, go out, scout a location months in advance. Here is a place that I think we could do some interesting things in the environment. And then from there, they would shoot the coverage they needed because they're dealing with such effects-heavy work. Yeah. They went and then shot all the actors, the stunt performers on green screen, digitally insert them into said environment, and the effect is pretty seamless. Yeah. Like, you can, I could tell, in the back of my mind, I'm like, okay, so this is, clearly an insert shot because of the way the camera's moving, but it's done really well. Yeah. It's done really well, and it looks really good.
And I also, I'm going to be a little bit hot and cold on this, and I think that's sort of how the rest of the review is going to go as well. It does help that everything is filmed so far in advance, so all the writing is done, so they don't have to make any last-minute changes. But when you end up having some actors who aren't there for a while, who sort of need to be, it sort of does end up feeling like the show can spin its wheels in a couple of places. and not move. This mostly shows up during the Bitter Gavv arc with all the clones and everything, especially with Jeet sort of being in the background. Although, I mean, they do explain exactly what happened, but I feel like he and his plot should have come in a little bit earlier.
It is a show that is clearly divided into 3 arcs.
Yes.
Arc 1, very Neo Heisei.
Yeah.
It is very much like... It's like Neo Heisei, but good. To put more fine a point on it. It is... There is a person... There is a Granute, who is our monsters for this season, who is harassing them in some way, or in some way trying to manipulate them or capture them to turn them into the dark treats, which are the MacGuffins for our bad guys.
It's very W-coded, because, once again, it's drugs.
I would say it's even more like heavy-handedly drug-coded than W was.
And W was pretty heavy-handed.
W was, but because there was such a wide variety of what the drives could do.
Yeah.
Like, they could make you old, they could, just be... They were very fantastical. The dark treats are explicitly like, this is a drug analogy. This is explicitly like a drug analogy.
This is addiction.
When it is addiction, it is drug addiction. You have the main character, our hero, telling the Granute at the end of a fight before the finisher, you can either walk away from the drugs or I will unalive you. And they're like, I will never give up drugs. I will eat dark treats forever. They're so delicious. And they're like, well, and then Rider kicking it dead.
I think that's actually one of the strongest points about this show, where it shows the effects of these drugs on these people, but it also shows the effects of the drugs and how they affect those around them. Like, in Hanto's case...
We are calling them drugs, but it is a confection. It's the dark treats.
Yeah.
The dark snacks.
Let's face it. But in this case...
Again, it's the analogy is very on the nose.
It's one of those things where, especially like in Hanto's case, where you could see how it affected the wolf Granute, who ends up attacking his mother, who ends up having his editor, or the person who took care of him,
his sensei, the person who took him in.
The way that he ended up being compressed into a dark treat, because humans are the flavoring or the spice of the dark
spice.
Treat. And how it affected him through that. And in Lakia's case, where it ended up affecting a family member and ended up basically changing their entire personality until they tried to get out, they got killed for it, which is, occasionally what a drug dealer will do. Mm-hmm. That's just historic.
And then we have the Stomach Incorporated. We have the manufacturers of said dark treats and how they are willing to do everything to keep said power over the people that they have power of. And they're willing to do anything that takes, and
further their own goals and things like that.
But getting back to the arcs, Act 1, very Neo Heisei. It's like Victim of the Week, but we don't lose focus on the heroes. Yeah, that they are still playing an active role in the story, as opposed to in a lot of Neo Heisei shows where the hero feels very passive. It's just like, I am here, I exist solely to beat up this thing that is harassing you and nothing else. In this one, it feels like they have a more active role in the story. Yeah. And then Act 2 is pretty much all just like hero growth and development.
Especially when it ends up coming to dealing with the Stomach family. Because around the end of Act 1 is when they get rid of Shita. Yeah. This is where I think the story... Okay. I think the strongest thing about the show is the heroes and the supporting cast, especially Sachika and Dente. I think they're, really good as a supporting cast. Sort of sad that she did not become a writer, but what can you do? The biggest
issue... It didn't stop her from trying to fight Longo with nothing but a broom.
Yeah.
She doesn't care. She will do what's right.
We'll get to him. The biggest issue I think that this show has, though, is the villains.
I would agree this has a villain issue, but it didn't bother me.
It bothered me.
It didn't bother me as much until we got to the end.
Oh, it shows up a lot worse at the end.
I agree.
I think
I'm willing to forgive it because the heroes are so good. Because I think Shoma and company are so interesting and so well written, and
they are.
And it's I never got bored watching this show.
Oh, me
Gavv
either.
was never boring.
Yeah.
And I was invested every time Shoma or Hanto or Lakia or Sachiko or Dente or any of them were on screen because they are well written, they are well acted, and the writers never seem to run out of like interesting things for them to do and ways to interact with each other.
Yes. The reason I end up bringing up the villains not being as strong is because probably really outside of Nilv, everybody felt really weak and didn't really have as much of a motivation. Longo especially, but I want to save him until the end because there's a lot of issues I have with his character and characterization.
So do you want to go through this character by character? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
Shoma. I love him.
I like him a lot.
I think he's a great, good boy.
Yes.
I do think there was a bit of an issue at the end with him and his uncle never really getting to talk.
I agree 100%. I agree 100%. That scene at the end when he finds Shoma's snack diary and he's looking through it and he's like, wow, it reminds me a lot of my sister. And then like you start to see the gears turn in his head.
We get the math lady. We get the math lady meme where everything starts making sense.
And then that starts making sense, and he asks Sachiko who Shoma's mother was. She says, well, that's something for him to tell you. And then they table that.
And we get a time skip.
And then we get a time skip. We get a 3-month time skip. And in their final scene together, I found myself asking, does he know?
Yeah, it's like...
Does he know?
I mean, they do because they mention her, but I'm just like...
Well, they mention her, but they don't mention it in such a way that, like, Shoma doesn't say... It's like Michiru would have liked this, and then Shoma doesn't say, like, yeah, Mom would have liked this. There's nothing in the context to make you think that he knows. Especially
because I feel like with the way that they set that up, with him meeting him, finding out that is his uncle, them talking about his mom as if she's an entity that they don't have any attachment to, or at least only his uncle does, but, Shoma can't say anything about it.
Yeah.
I feel like you miss an opportunity to have this conversation on screen because that was such a big setup between these two.
Missed opportunity.
And we don't get a payoff. Like, at least not a true one. So we end up seeing the aftermath of it instead of the math of it. And I'm just like, oh man, I wanted equations. So it's just
10 comedy points.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I'm just like, But him as a character, especially from as you see him at the beginning.
Yep. Washed up on the beach.
Yeah, falling out of a plane.
Yeah. From the MC Escher Maze of Doors.
Yeah, I really wish I would have done a little bit more with that as well. Just as a setting, because that's such an interesting one. But I
feel like they did all they could.
The issue, like a lot of Shoma's issues is just that, but I do love his characterization. Yep. He always gives them a choice with the dark treats. He even gave his brother a choice at the end. Mm-hmm. And I love how he, there's this dichotomy between him wanting to be a part of this family, talk to his brothers and sisters. And because of the fact that he is half human, they see him as, let's be honest, lesser than, especially the way that they see his mother. That whole relationship between Shoma's father and his mother, I'm going to say that was...
problematic?
Oh, yeah.
Problematic, and I'm also going to say underdeveloped.
Yes.
Because the only thing we ever seem to get from it, because I didn't know I was like, I wonder who Shoma's father is. Is this going to be some sort of mystery? Is there like another uncle that we don't know about in Stomach Inc. that like, or is there somebody else in the world that we don't know about that's going to be his father? It's going to be a surprise granite reveal. And then in one episode, Patriarch of Stomach Inc. comes in and is like, this is my new wife, walks away. That's literally all you get.
It feels very forced concubine.
It is very much that. It's just like, I have taken this woman against her will, and like that's all you get.
Yeah.
It feels like they didn't want to or didn't know how to go any further into it.
Yeah. It's like, and this ends up tying more into Longo, but we don't end up getting enough of a motivation as to why it was Shoma's mother that was chosen.
They never tell you.
They really don't.
Was he just walking down the street and was just like, ooh, pretty, mine? Is that what happened?
It seems like
we're led to believe that seems to be all we can believe what happened.
Yeah. Because we don't get any conversation between Shoma's mother and the father of the Stomach family. We get a little bit of characterization from Michiru, but it also doesn't seem like she showed up enough to give it. It's like versus Geets, where his mother is in prison, and we end up finding that out later. So they really
and everything that he's doing is like we find out everything that he's been doing is all for the purpose of freeing her.
Yeah,
and then in this
and we also get a lot of her backstory.
Also true. And then in this one, Michiru is already dead.
Yeah,
she is dead by the time the show begins.
Yeah, because it happens like within a couple of minutes beforehand.
So everything that we are learning about her is stuff that we're learning post-mortem, and it's only stuff that we're seeing in flashbacks.
Yeah.
So there's like a limited pool they had to deal with, and I guess they settled on like, well, she likes snacks. That's what her brother remembered her best from, and all the descriptions of snacks that she gave to Soma. She was definitely a loving mother. She loved her son very much.
Yeah.
So that's nice.
She talked about all the treats and everything of the human world.
Yes. One of the reasons he was so eager to try them.
Yes.
They're eating whatever gruel or whatnot that they're given while they're under house arrest. And she's like, "Oh, I would kill for a gummy right now." And he's like, "Gummy? What's that?" And he gets one when he meets Hajime in the first episode. And that's how we get our forms with our Gochizo.
Do you have a favorite form of his?
Ooh.
Because I do.
I think I would go with Master Gavv as a whole.
Master and Over?
Master and Over, I think I think it looks incredible.
It's a great form.
I think it looks incredible, and I love the dichotomy of super speedy, which is like a souped up version of the gummy.
And it also has access to all the other weapons and things.
Mm-hmm. And then you have the over form, which is just like a tank that he can barely move in. And I love the switch ups and mix ups that he does with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would get that is my pick for the best. What about you?
Caking.
It's so good.
It's such a beautiful
so good.
Form. You would think just like, oh, strawberry cake. Like, no, this thing is gorgeous. It's a very pretty form.
It's very pretty. Just one thing I will say about the show, I mean, that I have to praise it for is how good it looks.
Yeah.
The show as a whole looks great. It's well lit. I think it's got great contrast in colors. The colors really pop.
Yeah.
I think the forms all look really good. It's very well shot. It's, as I said before, it's incredibly well edited. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this show, like, from an aesthetic perspective, this show is absolutely fantastic.
And I think there's a lot to say about Shoma's characterization and really about the show as a whole and how they handle things versus how some other shows handle things. They like to talk. And I appreciate and love that. That's how Shoma got 2 boyfriends in this show. Because they actually talked their issues through instead of just, let's have a misunderstanding for 16 episodes or something like that. I just really appreciate that the show actually took its time to not just go full action all the time and actively talk about disagreements and, come to conclusions that way instead of
taking some lessons from Dawn Brothers.
Yeah, it really, really helps.
Did that the best.
It really helps when these people end up actually talking through things. Mm-hmm. And I just really appreciate that, especially because Sajika sort of ends up being that middle ground between...
kind of the mediator.
Yeah, between Shoma and Hanti or... Shoma and Lakia, or Lakia and Hanti especially, because they have a lot of issues at the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
But I really do appreciate them just being able to talk through their issues. Mm. It's very refreshing to see that. And to see them as like, okay, we're going to handle this like adults. Mm. And instead of just fighting each other like you would see in a whole bunch of other shonens, no, we're going to talk this out.
Yes, I'm glad you brought that up. We're going to handle this like adults. These characters, young though they may be, they feel so mature.
Yeah.
Every one of our heroes, they feel like mature, fully realized people.
Yeah.
Who have like agency and thoughts and the means to express them.
Yeah.
And I like that a lot.
I really love it. I love it. But yeah, Shoma's a great character. I really do like him. He's up there as a really good protagonist for me. Oh yeah, same. Even though the show didn't always focus on it, but in such a good way in some cases, and especially when we talk about our secondary of Hanto.
It's good. The show is good at splitting focus where it needs it.
Yeah,
Hanto, Boy,
honestly, probably my favorite character in the show.
He might be one of my favorite secondary writers, if not my favorite.
Yeah.
After this show, because
full arc,
and even then, just one of the best performances in the show. I think the actor does a fantastic job. It is rare. Because in a lot of Japanese media, a character will yell, they'll go all out, they'll scream, they'll shout, they'll cry. Lots of big emotions and big scenes of big things happening. And then you have somebody like Hanto. It seems rare, particularly in the live action side.
Yeah. That
they will let a character, because in anime it's like, it's an animated medium. It can work perfectly fine if you have an emotion that big. It's rare that an emotion will be that big, that they'll let an actor go this big.
Yeah.
And it feels right. Hanto goes hard.
Yeah.
His actor goes hard in these big emotional scenes where he is yelling and his voice is cracking.
Yeah.
And he is like spitting and he's crying and just really good face acting and he looks disheveled.
He's really good at crashing out on screen. And bringing it back to, you can see exactly, like, this does not feel overdone, and it doesn't feel unnecessary to the situation that he's in.
Yeah.
Especially when he first finds out that Shoma is a granute.
Mm-hmm.
His relationship with Lakia. Just how angry he is at the beginning of the show, because all of that makes sense from where he started.
Yeah.
So it's just like, okay. And then you see at the end where he really starts to, especially with Jeeb and, I'm blanking on her name for some reason.
Lizelle?
Yes. Between those two and him, like, y'all could just walk away.
Like, could just walk away.
I'm not that angry anymore. Him finding his mother's killer is such a big thing for him. And I do like the fact that it wasn't some big general.
It wasn't like the general. It was a junkie.
Yeah.
Essentially, it was a junkie. It was a junkie who needed a fix. Capture humans so we can make dark treats. And this is very early on in the Dark Treat production process because the way they are doing it is different because they don't have the presses.
Yeah.
The human presses are not there. It's people like in a room like hooked up to IVs. And his mother's death. It's one of the most upsetting things I think Tokyo has ever shown.
Because of how it tied into Shoma.
Because of how it tied into Shoma, but also the way it happens.
Yeah.
The way it's like my mom, I was up late, I was exploring, I got lost, I found this woman, she didn't know that I, lived here essentially, and they get caught. It's the way it's the way she is killed by essentially they throw her into a vat of acid.
Yeah.
Now it's very, you can tell by looking at it that it's like a very shallow tank. The actress is clearly holding themselves under the water because it's very shallow, but it's like the camera doesn't cut away when you think it's going to.
Yeah,
you see her disintegrate in a vat of acid.
Especially when you end up seeing it a little bit from Shoma's perspective in this case, because he's young.
Yeah, he
doesn't see anything really out of the norm. For him, yet.
He's scared because he's lost.
Yeah,
he's like, I'm lost. I don't know where I am.
I've never been to this part of the castle.
Yeah, I've never been to this part of the castle. It's nighttime. I don't know. I don't have my mom with me. He's a scared little kid because he's lost. But then this getting thrown on top of that, and this was his introduction to there are other people. There are humans. It's not just granutes. They're doing something to these humans.
Yeah, my
mom is human, and then all the gears start to come together. It's a pretty intense scene.
But just returning to Hanto's scene, especially from that point on, when it seems like Shoma's keeping a lot of secrets from him, and to be fair, he is.
Yeah.
And this is something that they had to
work
through.
And I think with good reason.
Yeah. He finds out everything about his mother, what happened to his mother, who Shoma is in comparison to Hanto himself. Hanto getting a surgery to be a better fighter. He went through a drastic measure really early on. With Suga, a.k.a. Our favorite red boy from Zenkaiger. But I just really love Hanto's character arc and how it sort of gets echoed in Jeep's character arc throughout the show proper. just based on everything is so done for revenge. And instead, at the end, it's like you're sort of doing this for somebody else and willing to give somebody else a second chance. Because he was ready to kill his mother's killer, but he's just like, this won't solve anything.
This won't solve anything. And also, going back to like earlier on in the series, when Shoma has the choice of like killing a Granute or rescuing Hanto.
Yeah.
And he chooses to rescue Hanto. And Hanto, when he wakes up, is furious.
Yeah, he's pissed.
He is angry. He's like, how dare you? You let a Granute get away. I hate Granutes. They all need to die.
Yeah.
And Shoma is like, you can't save people if you're dead. I cannot let the Granutes take anyone I care about anymore. I can't let that happen anymore. And that was like the first time anyone ever told him,
your life is worth something.
Your life is worth something, and don't like let your life be controlled by hatred.
I love their relationship. I love how rocky and secretive it starts out, but that trust that they end up building up with each other. If the stage show is anything to go by, Jesus Christ. But I just love...
Was that where they made the NTR joke?
Yes. I just love how everything is built up between the two of them. It's really appreciated more than anything else. I just love them, and I love the addition of Lakia into their dynamic and how jealous Hanto gets a little bit at the beginning.
Anything else we want to say about Hanto?
Just a great character. I really can't wait to see, because he has a V cinema coming out in November.
Oh, cool.
Which is really soon. So, we will be talking about that.
Yeah, we've talked a lot about how, like big and like emotional he can get, but they do give him a lot of levels.
Yeah.
The episode where he's talking to the girl who's like doing her dances and he's helping her out, that's a nice little episode. So we get like softer sides of him. We know he's not, it's like, they don't show you, he's not just like, I'm gonna kill everything and I hate everything, I'm so mad. He's not like that.
I liked his relationship with Suga as well.
That was fascinating.
Because Suga took advantage of him.
Yep.
And how his anger just sort of really blinded him to a lot of the other things. He was just like so Granute focused. And then that ends up, obviously getting broken later after Suga comes back as Bake initially.
As a zombie.
Yes. Well, the first time when he transformed into a rider.
Right.
There's also just a whole bunch of other things with Suga, but we'll talk about him a little bit as well.
Okay.
But yeah, I really liked Hanto. I think he was a great character. Did you have a favorite suit of his?
Not particularly. I liked them all.
Yeah, I wish. I
really like the touch of when he first gets his chocolate form. I love the touch of the foil breaking off. I think that's a really good visual idea.
I do think...
Visually, I think all the transformations in this are very cool and interesting.
Yeah, I do think he needed one more form before the end of the show. If only because of the fact that even though the show made it...
Because it was chocolate, dark chocolate, and the frappe.
And donut.
And donut, right. Which he didn't use that much. But
yeah, I think I did not like that form. I did not like how that one looked.
I thought it was okay.
But it's one of those things where I'm just like, okay, they made sure that his frappe form was never completely overpowered. But it did feel like a little bit in some cases, especially when he had to fight Longo, that he got a little bit underpowered, just a little bit. It was one of those things a little wild to me. Lakia. Kira May Silver.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Awesome.
They did something with the Ghost Users not too long ago, and he didn't know which side to go to. So they like some actors thing. He just did not know to go on the Sentai side.
Do I go to Sentai? Do I go to Kamen Rider?
Yeah.
Do I stand in the middle of the room? Do I dress half and half? So we have, with Shoma, we have the child of the company that is like causing all the chaos, that is manufacturing the dark treats. With Valen, we have a character who had a loved one who was taken by someone under the influence of dark treats.
Yeah.
And now with Lakia, it's a Granute who had a family member who was under the influence of the dark treats and lost them to that.
Yeah, well, lost them to Glaka.
But specifically, that scene where that flashback they show where he comes home and his little brother, little Kamel, is going through their savings and like taking their money out of, wherever they have it stashed. And he gets like really angry, and I think he like hits him or something. He's like, "So this is where our money's going. What are you doing with it? What are you doing with our savings?" He's like, "I need dock treats. I need them." And he runs out of the house. And he doesn't like see him again until he stumbles back in with a gash on his back.
It's one of those things where I don't want to say anything to any of the writers, like family or anything, but it's like obviously somebody has either done really good research or somebody has gone through this. And it shows in these two because addiction is such an issue.
Oh, yeah.
Not trying to get, too big or too holier than thou about this. But yeah, it is an issue. And this is how people have acted. And that's why you have all those intervention shows in the mid-2000s. But yeah, I do like how they portrayed that addiction. And I do like the fact that they actively showed Komel trying to get out. And the drug dealer in this case did not let him.
Nope. But Lakia, an interesting case because he has a unique ability among Granites where he can inject people with a toxin that causes them to experience utter bliss. Because the happier a person is when they get pressed, then the better the spice for the dark treats. Mm-hmm. And he was, they were using him, and he was going along with it because if I go along with this and I get in their good graces enough, I'll get in with the top brass. And then I will kill him. I will destroy them from the inside. Yes, exactly that.
I liked his character a lot. I loved his relationship with Hanto, especially because they were so at odds for obvious reasons at the beginning. Because Hanto was still super angry, and Vram, or Lakia in this case, is out there working for Nell for a little bit until he revealed what he was really trying to do. Mm-hmm. His character's so interesting because he's, rightfully just depressed for a lot of this. And that really shows up in how he transforms, what he is trying to do with everybody, because he was going to let the people just be pressed. Mm-hmm. The whole reason that he was there is to only take down the Stomach family, but he realizes, there is value in life, human or Granite or otherwise.
I can atone for what I did by doing good. And Sachika tells him this.
Yeah.
Later on in the show, because she has like a moment of doubt when she remembers, like, oh yeah, he is a Granite who has done a lot of bad things. Like, the timing of when this happened was a little shaky, but the fact that it ends with her being like, I've seen you've proven to me with your actions that I've seen the good you are trying to do to atone for what you did.
Especially because he after a little while, he doesn't want to use his powers, but that's the way that they end the mind control of the people at the end by using...
It works for a little bit.
Using
get them that break they need.
I guess the toxin that he has as anti...
It's like an anti-venom.
Yeah, like an antitoxin in this case. And they use it with the cloud that Shoma's powers can give him through the use of cotton candy. I just really like his character overall. I loved his character arc. This is one of those things, like, they did all of the main heroes really well in showing, what they were willing to do and him willing to sacrifice himself at the end. And especially his relationship with Glata, just how, let's face it, properly angry that he was at her. Because they thought it was a different Granute, then it wasn't. Then we found out it's Glata who, killed his brother. Mm-hmm. Also, just of his whole thing, it's like, Hanto doesn't like sweets because he just doesn't like sweets. Yeah. But Lakia doesn't like them because Granutes eat rocks. Yeah. Which, that's an interesting thing.
When he asks Hanto to go get him some rocks to eat. Yeah. Because he wants to take a nap. It's like, make sure they're tasty rocks. He's like, how do I know what rocks are tasty? And then Hanto runs into Sachika on his way home. It's like, I got him some rocks too. And he holds up a bag of aquarium gravel with like a bunch of little pretty rocks in it. And she's like, wait, that's what you got him? And he's like, I didn't know what else to do. They look pretty. Maybe they taste good. And that was a fun little moment.
I also love him willing to go out of his way. The further the show goes along, the more selfless he becomes. Yes. Which is why I think it's really fitting that his final form was defensive. He had the shield, which I believe is the
shield focused.
Is the Ringo shield from Ringo Arms in Gaim.
Oh, interesting.
I think his character,
I like how it's threaded metal.
Yeah.
Where it's like a floating like threaded metal
And
before it floats into a solid shield.
The a la mode stand. The fact that he is a pudding rider is such an interesting thing, but I think the concept comes through really well.
He has probably my favorite transformation. I love the cup coming down on top of him and then it filling up with pudding. And then when the cup comes off, a spoon comes in and like cleaves it off.
Yeah.
And you've ever eaten, a thick custard like that, cleave it, taking the spoon and like that first bite, so satisfying. Just to watch it like cleanly come away like that.
And I love the invisibility one, the fact that it has a drawback when he goes invisible.
He has to stop his own heart.
Essentially. He does what JoJo did in that one episode of Stardust. The one chapter, rather, where he ends up stopping his heart. But I really do like the fact that everybody's character arc is so well defined. I was not the biggest fan of the time skip at the end with him having destroyed all the doors and being locked away.
I feel like that's... Do you want to talk about the finale now, or do you want to wait until we get to the villains?
Let's wait until we get to the villains, because I think that's
because I have thoughts on the finale.
Yeah, that's where a lot of it's going to end up coming in. Okay. But yeah, I really do like all three of them. Getting
with him and Hanto as well. The
animosity.
The animosity, but also like when he and Shoma first fight side by side, and Hanto comes upon the fight and is like, "What is this? What's going on? Teaming up with a Granute? I don't believe this." And the fact that was resolved so much better than I had expected to.
Yeah.
Because when Hanto walks up and sees them, I was definitely like, "Oh no.
Here we go again.
Don't do this. Come on. Don't be like..." I figured this is where like the NTR joke came from. I was like, "Come on, don't do this."
Oh yeah, when Hanto punched him in the face.
Yeah, that too. But yeah, they resolve it, like you said, by talking and working it out, and it isn't long before they're all fighting side by side, and I like that. It's nice. It's nice to have people get along
and talk. Well, get along after doing the standard. Oh, we're stuck together.
That episode was fantastic. Did you get any like Dexter's Lab flashbacks with that?
No.
It had a stuck together episode in that I really liked.
Well,
it's one of my
such
favorites.
A trope.
I know, but that was the first time I ever saw it, so that's why it's gonna be in my head forever. But I think my favorite moment in that whole episode is when Lakia transforms, and the pudding cup comes down over both of them, but Hanto can't breathe. Because he can't breathe in the pudding, and he's just down there like in the pudding, like just trying to get out.
Also, I want to say, aura farming. Lakia was just like, "I'm too cool for this." He just was sitting on top of weapons when he first transforms in Alamoda gets Galata, and is just sitting on top of the crate, and I'm sitting here like. Because it's just so good. I love him. Yeah. He has the cool factor. And Shoma does as well in a couple cases, but I think that's sort of Lakia's whole thing. Just being cool. And being nonchalant.
Too cool for school.
He really is. Do you have a favorite form of his? Why is it a la mode?
I was actually going to say the first one.
Okay.
But yeah, the first one, just because, again, it comes down to the transformation and how it's used. I love that it's, I like the bow and arrow as a weapon that he can switch into, like, a chain scythe, which is
so cool.
Which is just cool. That's
so
just
cool.
A cool weapon. Come on. I love that. We've talked in the past about, like, get more creative with your weapons. Have some weapons that you don't use anymore. Because in Geats, we had the chain sword.
Yeah.
Very Warhammer 40k. And now in this one, we have the scythe that can, like, function as a chainsaw, too. Which is also a bow and arrow. And that's just cool. That's just cool.
Obviously, mine is a la mode. I really...
It's a great form.
It's just
I'm not going to begrudge anyone that.
It's very clean. I don't want to spend too much time on this, because I think that the show did. The Bitter Gavs.
The Bitter Gavs, and by extension, I think we should lump Suga into this.
Yeah, we should.
We should talk about Suga as well.
Jeremy, what do you think? Thoughts?
Dosa.
Shoma's right there.
Oh, yeah.
I got him last year.
Yeah, there he is. He is with us. But Suga, an interesting character, an interesting villain.
Yeah.
Obsessed with Granites.
Yeah.
Obsessed with learning them, learning everything he can about them, And it looks like, from what we are given in context, because they never explicitly tell you what his motivation is, what his final endgame is. It looks like he had a child.
He did.
And he's working to resurrect them using the Granute physiology. That, I mean, at the end, when he meets his end for the first time, like as Suga, not as the zombie, but
apparently he doesn't die immediately. He and Nielva actually end up talking for a little bit before he dies. There was a CD drama that came out that explained the relationship.
Well, I'll say this: that doesn't feel like required reading. I think cutting to the picture of him holding the baby.
Yeah.
After Lakia destroys the tank, which, I mean, tank full of Shomas. Can we talk about that? How there was a giant tank in his basement filled with Shomas.
Yeah.
Dark Gavv, I think, well used for the most part.
It stayed too long. Like it felt repetitive. I think this.
They ultimately They ultimately put an end to it that episode, and I think that's also when he gets ice cream.
Yeah, which I was not the biggest fan of sorbet. I believe it might have been. It's either sorbet or ice cream.
I'm calling it ice cream.
I wasn't the biggest fan of that form.
Okay.
Yeah.
The one thing I think it could have done without was the winner thing. When he spins the cone to do the finisher, and it's like, you're a winner. It's like, oh, I won. It's like, can you lose? Is this like Batagoyo Itagoyo? You have to wait?
Oh, from Drive?
From Drive.
AKA probably one of the best parts of that show. That was comedy.
It's like, is this something that like you have to like, or like, you know, X8 here with like his level 1, level 2 is like, is this something you have to work around and wait to get a winner before you can use your finisher? Because you never see otherwise.
I really would like the biggest thing I have with Suga, especially, even though it is put into the audio drama.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is one of those Taiga situations where I wish we could have gotten a flashback between him and Yelv, because we don't get that much on Yelv until the end.
Also true.
Yeah.
But yeah, Suga collaborating with a member of the Stomach family to do his nefarious deeds.
Yeah.
He gets a chocolate chip cookie form, which is fine, I think.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
Bitter Gavv is fine.
Yeah, nothing much else to say on that, I think.
Yeah.
I think the use of zombie Suga at the end of the show, I think, is okay.
Like, I can understand the need for an experiment that he and Nielv apparently bonded over their want of, you know, being a mad scientist. Although Nielv was
science.
He was doing it for his family, which you ended up finding out later. We're sort of wish you could have found that out a little bit earlier.
Mm.
But I do like the fact that, you know, Suga has done a whole bunch of experiments before Hanto was number 12.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's one of those things.
I do love the scene where Hanto is getting his augmentation surgery, and Suga is just like, I've never done this before, hope it works, slash.
And then he finds out that he did this before. Hanto's like the 12th person.
Yeah, but he was the first one that took.
Yeah. Everybody else died.
But still, his attitude of like, it's like, you know, just grit your teeth and bear it. I don't have any anesthetic. Sorry. Slice open your stomach. Shove in this thing. Sew your stomach up while you are still screaming.
No anesthesia. Suga as a character himself, I just really wish that we would have gotten a little bit more of his motivation, because it doesn't come through.
As far as evil Kamen Riders go, not one of the best, but I think it's fine. I think for what the story gives us, it's fine.
And that's why I just wish it wasn't just limited to the CD dramas. Like, if we would have gotten more conversations between Suga and Nielv, I think that would have just really elevated his character and his motivation throughout this part of the show.
I think the show gives you enough that I'm willing to forgive that. And I think it does the thing that one of the things that like the MCU, for example, got criticized a lot for was like, well, there's the villains are underdeveloped. There's too much focus on the heroes. It's like, well, that's by design. They want the focus to be on the heroes, and I think that's true with Gavv as well.
I think
we want the focus to be there. I do think it suffers at the end, but
it suffers majorly at the end.
Yeah,
I think this is just one of those things where it's another one of those shows, and you know, I can make a comparison to Geki Ranger, since Geki Ranger has so much focus on the villains in that show versus the heroes. Or for a more writer-focused one, we talked about it already, Double. We got so much focus on Museum and their family dynamics and things like that. Yeah. So it's a comparison that I feel like can be made between these two shows, and I think that's where this show fails a little bit on, because we got so much focus on Museum and the heroes, and this one just feels like we got a lot more focus on the heroes and not as much
focus on Museum, because Museum, again, it's like we have a crime family, we have like family dynamics and different relationship dynamics,
and we have a family dynamic with them and Philip, who's one of the heroes in this show.
And then Shotaro and Philip are a little more archetypal, a little more cut and dry. We have like an idea for how these characters are going to act, and we're just going to stick with that through the whole show. Whereas the villains were a little more developed in W. And then on this side, it's a little more the opposite. The heroes, they grow, they change, there's a lot to them, and then the villains are a little more flat.
I don't want to say bog standard, because that's not fair. But that's sort of a little bit what it is. Flat is a better one, because I don't want to say bog standard, because they're not. But
Bog standard would
two-dimensional.
Two-dimensional, yeah. Also known as flat. But bog standard is something like a Monster of the Week, who is just like, I'm going to do evil and bad things because I'm bad and evil. Because evil is badong.
Yes, you did watch.
I did rewatch Kung Pao this week. I don't know that movie was meant to be seen in HD.
It wasn't, but it's still comedy.
On second thought, I think it may have been, because in some scenes it kind of added to. He's talking to Mushu Fasa in the clouds, and it's like, why are there palm trees behind him? They shot this in somebody's backyard.
That makes it that much funnier.
True. Back to Gavv.
Yeah. Suga's fine.
Yeah.
I just wanted a little bit more from him. And, go listen to the CD dramas, see if you can find a translation. Mm-hmm. I think that'll end up being one of the things that really ends up bringing more oomph to his character.
Mm-hmm. Who should we talk about next?
We haven't seen the movie yet.
No, they show up at episode 44. Why did you do your clip show at episode 44? Why? And then the ending happened, and I was so confused, and it was like, okay, I think this is a movie preview.
Just like the one from Gaim, when they did have him.
Gaim did it. Gotchard did it. It was like, wait, who is this character? Why are we not seeing them again? Why are we introducing them now? But at the same, clip show at episode 44. It's a 50-episode show.
Well, they've actually done this a couple times before, but sometimes that happens more on the Sentai side around Christmas.
But that's usually halfway through.
The Sentai side? That's usually around Christmas. This is near the end. Actually, we can go into the allies here.
Let's do that, because we've talked about all our writers. Let's get into our allies. Starting with...
Also, I didn't talk about them earlier, but this is sort of the other reason why K-King is one of my favorite forms of Shomas.
The Whipped Cream Soldiers.
The Whipped Cream Soldiers. They gave them a little bit of personality here and there, and I love what they did.
I love these guys. They're great.
That they could get the weapons and everything of the other forms. I love the Gochizos. They gave them so much personality.
We talked about... We ranted a lot about the chemis in Gotchard.
Yeah, I hated them.
And this is giving you, like, the good version of that.
Yeah.
The Gochizo are cute, they're expressive, they are fun to watch.
Yeah.
And they are anthropomorphized just enough. And there is so much more you can do with a little packet of gummies, little packet of gummies that just, like, waddles around and goes... It has, like, eyes, and it has a mouth, and it can cry, and it can make happy noises.
And it can die.
And then you have the chemis, which, they die, but, like, them, like, getting a halo and angel wings.
Which is still so fun.
And flying away is a fun little visual. It's like, okay, they're off to Gochizo heaven. Let them be. And then you have the chemis, which are just, like, a flat card with a little image on it that just kind of moves back and forth. It only has one pitch. They don't anthropomorphize it enough, or they should have done none at all. And then the Gochizo are like, yeah, this is how you do it.
They're legitimately, even though it's usually never the same one.
Yeah.
They go out. They are scouts.
Yeah, I love that.
And it's always
I love them being his eyes on the street.
Yeah, it's so funny to just see them sometimes in the background. Especially,
what's that gummy? Little Timmy? He's trapped in a well. Wait, 3 words. First word,
Dark.
Second word, treats. Second word is third word.
Press.
Okay. Where? First word. It's like that. It never goes like full charades, but like it's like that kind of a interaction where like a little thing comes up and just goes. What's that? He's trapped. Okay, we're off, and that's what happens, and it's adorable. And I love it.
It's fun. I really do like. I like those little guys. They're adorable. Sachika.
God, this lady rules.
Great character.
She's so good.
She was like, we're going to talk through everything. And I was like, yes, Diva, work. Because it was needed. More often than not, they actually had to talk.
I said this in the first impressions, but like a grown-ass woman.
Yeah.
With the maturity of a grown-ass woman, with her own business, with her own place, with agency, with her own income, who is just like killing it at life. Just this woman is amazing. She's really great. She's she truly is like one of my favorite supporting characters in Kamen Rider history.
Yes,
she is helpful. She is kind. She is compassionate. She is useful. She is everything you want a good supporting character to be in a show like this.
Yep.
She just rules. I love
really
Sachika.
She's really good. I really like her as an assistant to everybody else. I think that is one of the biggest things they really did for her character. They made her consistently useful. She was pretty much always there. Mm-hmm. Although I would have liked for her to become a writer, I'm actually sort of happy that she didn't, because she gets to show a lot more how the normal person helps out.
She shows a lot of courage despite not having any powers to back it up.
Her standing up to Longo,
one of the best scenes in the show.
Several times, actually.
Yeah.
The first time this is one of those things we're going to talk about when we get to Longo. But I love the first time that she met him, or saw him rather, and then, met him later on, met him again. And, she's going to stand up for her friends. She might be scared, but she doesn't care. That takes a lot of courage. Mm-hmm. And I think that's one of those things that really just embodies her courage. She has a lot of it. Mm-hmm. And she is not afraid to just stand up to somebody. I really like her as a character. And man, oh man, I hope that she gets again to become a writer one day. I think that should happen in a movie. That's just me.
I will agree with you.
Yeah,
I'd be okay with her getting a writer.
Because this is the first show in a while that we haven't had a female writer. We've had one every year since Reiwa started.
Oh yeah.
Pretty much, actually, just the end of Hastings was Zo, because Tsukiyomi became one at the end.
If you say so.
Yeah.
I would remember it if we watched a show called Zo. I have no memory of this.
We'll talk about something else after. Yeah. I really appreciated her. Dente, I really liked him as well. Uncle Dente.
I love one of my favorite, I guess you would say, like, archetypes of characters. He's like friendly, helpful uncle. Boisterous, friendly, helpful uncle, and
friendly, non-murdering sort.
Yes, especially he was in it for the science because it was fun.
Yeah,
he's the one responsible for making the dark treats, but he didn't know what he was doing.
Yeah,
his brother showed up one day and was like, gave him a flask of like some green liquid and was like, "Here, make a confection of this. Can you make a confection with this?"
Yeah,
and he just took it and went, "Sure, I'll do what I can." He didn't know what it was. He wasn't in on. He didn't know what was going on.
Shoma is his grandnephew.
Yes.
So he is, the grand uncle. His brother was the one who, started the Stomach family. They came up with it together, and then his nephew took over, which is Shoma's father. I really liked him as a character. I loved the lengths he was willing to go to really help out Shoma to try and make up for the things that he had done. I liked his relationship with Lakia.
Dude, that's the scene. I believe it's the scene where they first meet.
Yeah,
and Shoma introduces them, and it's like he's my granduncle, and Dente, through no prodding of anyone else, just goes, "Yeah, I also invented dark treats." And Lakia is just like, "You," and just tries to destroy him right then and there.
Yeah. But I mean, it was originally just an ordinary confection company's stomaching until everything went really wrong.
Until the discovery of dark treats.
Yeah.
And which again, Dente made without any knowledge of like what the substance was. He was just given something and says like, "I'm happy, I'm working in my lab. Oh, what's this? You want me to make something with this? Sure, I'll do what I can. Ooh, this is delicious."
He's also the one who ended up experimenting on the Gavv on Shoma's stomach.
He's the one who gave him the red Gavv.
Yeah, because Shoma, unlike the others who could make their own minions,
yes,
Shoma could not. So he knew of Shoma. I don't know how much. I can't really remember exactly how much Shoma remembered of him.
From what I gather, not much, because their first interaction is like they meet in the cave and he's like, monster, but it's like, no, it's me, Shoma, don't you remember? But like he has explained and he has given like proof of like, okay, this person is a friend, and which he is through the end.
And then Dente ends up going into the human world.
Yeah.
After, doing all these experiments on Shoma's Gavv.
Yep.
And then he got...
He ran and he left, essentially to be in hiding
he got addicted to the snacks of the human world and ultimately retired.
Yep. And then he continues to help help them until he is killed tragically. His death, when they go and find his body, it's pretty sad. Because they're like a minute earlier, they maybe could have saved him.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those sad things that happens. I miss him. He was real. He was my friend.
And the way that he went out with Glotta after she went like on loneliness rage mode.
Yeah, because he's like, I've known you since you were a kid. I know what it is that makes you tick.
Yeah.
He tells her the truth she doesn't want to hear. You're actually just a selfish, lonely little girl.
And then, like, we want you to have the opportunity to come here and, like, live with us.
Yeah.
She says, no, but
how
in
dare
rage
you?
mode.
Yep.
So, and then she kills him.
And just slashes him in a fit of rage.
He also has, because his favorite snacks were chips. And the whole thing where he put a video into Zakuzaku chips. Man, oh man. And he ends up leaving, messages to everybody. It's really, it's a depressing watch, and I really just appreciate it for that. I love the fact that whenever we end up getting like a food-based Kamen Rider, everything is just like death.
Is this the first one?
Second.
I wouldn't call Gaim food-based.
It's fruit.
I mean, it's fruit, but it's like, it's like one thing in terms of
yeah, but
food.
it's all, that is still a food-based one. Fruit is food.
You are correct. I'm not disputing that.
Yeah.
I guess... because I did a Toku pitch on a food-based one, which was very different from this. Mine was more like actual, like, entrees and whatnot, with the forms and whatnot that I came up with. But I think the use of snacks in particular is what this is mainly. It's like snacks and desserts. Gaim was fruit, this is snacks and desserts. So I guess I was just like separating the two in my head as being like completely different. But the way they use that in this as the motif for the show, as the forms, as everything, I think is very well done.
I also love Dente's relationship with Sachika.
Yes.
They were quite close. And, the first time she meets him, of course, she's a little bit scared, but she, gets herself together and just moves on with the day. And, they end up having a friend. So she ends up taking it quite hard, and she has a picture frame on her desk.
She kept the selfie.
Yeah.
It's so cute.
I love it. And I love the links that he was willing to go to make sure that Gavv always had something to help fight. Because he really cared for his family. He did not want the Stomach family to go down this road. No. And, he ended up teaching everything that he knew to Nielv, and Nielv took it where he did.
Yeah. One he used the science for evil.
Yeah, but I really, really liked Dente as a character.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like he's a good one in the way that you don't need a ton on this character, but you do need enough of that backstory to really get something out of it. Mm-hmm. So, feeling a little bit of something at the end of his character arc.
Mm-hmm. Shall we move on to the villains?
Yeah, let's move on to Stomach Inc. first. And I want to talk about Longo last. I mean, like, really last, though.
So do you want to talk about the Geldok family before we get to him?
Yeah, let's actually do that. But I think we need to talk about Liesel in reference to Jeep. So let's go with the characters as we sort of saw them.
Okay, so the twins, we'll talk about them first?
We'll talk about the twins first.
Okay, so Shita and Jeeb, brother and sister, they're twins. I like their costumes.
Love the costumes.
I like the black and white motif and how they have the matching wigs. The black hair is a little bit shorter. It's a fascinating dynamic that they don't go into it too much.
Yeah.
But it definitely feels like there is something very incestuous going on between the two of them.
I didn't get that.
On one, specifically on...
I didn't get that at all.
Specifically on Jeeb's side, I will say. And I say this because of the scene where he gets the ability to transform into Sheeta.
I didn't read it as that. I think it's because of the fact that
it's less of a sexual thing and more of a like just like there is like something missing from me, and being able to touch that again is like awakening something.
I didn't get that.
Okay.
I got the fact that they were twins.
That's definitely, yeah, of course.
They were obviously going to be very close because of that. Especially because they didn't want to have anything to do with Shoma.
Yeah, but specifically, like, it's Lazelle's, like, reaction to finding him that way. Finding him, like, in Sheeta's guise and just kind of, like, caressing him and being like, oh, you can stay this way, that's fine. I'm like, oh, this is profoundly interesting, and I wonder where they're going to go with it, and they don't.
I got more transgender vibes from this.
That's a good read. That's a good read, yeah.
Yeah. But Sheeta herself doesn't get a ton.
She is the first one killed off. They killed off the women in this show so much faster than everybody else. Sajik is the only one who gets to stick around. I mean, thank goodness.
But I think she's fine as a character for what she was supposed to do. You know, she sacrificed herself for Jeeb after Shoma's getting caking for him for the first time. Mm-hmm. And this is also, they're the reason why they end up finding Dente.
Yeah.
Or well, Shoma ends up finding Dente.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing with her, though, is the fact that she was there just to push Jeeb further. Mm. Jeeb's biggest issue is the fact that he was gone for a good portion after this.
It very, because like we were talking about in earlier in the review, it's like the first arc is just like we're setting everything up.
Yeah.
We're developing the heroes in Act 2. And then Act 3, which happens episode, does it say down there? I think it's like in the 20s or 30s. Episode 29.
Yeah.
That's basically, because Stomach Family is mostly out of the picture in that arc.
Yeah.
In the second half. And then Act 3, they finally come back, and it does feel like they've been missing, but at the same time, I didn't mind it all that much because the heroes were so good. But Jeeb in particular, the notion of like being broken from losing half of you that kept you whole, and then being found by someone who finds your brokenness attractive.
Not in a romantic sense.
Not in a like I can fix you sort of way, but in the like I like watching things suffer.
Yeah.
What she says as much to her father. She's like when her dad is like, "How long do you intend to keep your prince around exactly?" And she's like, "Well, Dad, don't you get it? Stringing him along and watching him suffer. That's the fun. That's the fun part."
Yeah, Jeeb. They both have their own things going on. Jeep was there just to get revenge since Longo and the others sort of downgraded them and made them feel lesser. And
they were fired, essentially, because they were in charge of procurement.
And it's one of those things where it was a two-pronged revenge plan in this case. He wanted the power to get back at his family.
Yep.
And to also get back at Shoma.
Yep. For killing his sister.
Never got to do.
Nope.
Shoma beat the brakes off of him every single time they showed up together after that.
Yep. Which I was okay with.
Yeah. But I really like Jeeb's character. I think he was busy with a play, and I think Longo was as well. They were both busy with something else, actor-wise, after this. They weren't gone as long as Koyomi from Wizard, so thank goodness. But, man, did it not help in Longo's case. Jeeb came back quickly enough. It's like, oh, I married her to take over because the president is so strong, and he's the president of the Granute world.
Yep.
We don't get a resolution to that, who took over afterwards, but I guess it sort of
I assume it's Lizelle if it's like...
No, she's stuck.
Oh, yeah, she's stuck on the other side.
Yeah, she'll be
because we cut back and we see Lakia in Granute World.
Yeah.
And there's like a guy selling his confections, selling rocks, like delicious rocks to eat. And
delicious rocks.
And he's just kind of looking around and people are just kind of going about their business and he's like, well, the world continues to turn.
Yeah, we don't know who took over the Granute World after.
If anyone did. Yeah. Did they even notice?
Nope. But Jeeb, I liked his characterization a lot. I also liked that he I guess, sort of got over some things the further the show went along, because he ended up feeling so weak and so bitter about it.
Yeah.
But he ended up relying on Lisa a lot
Like
because of that.
when Longo gets taken out in the Master Form debut episode, and they think that Longo is dead, and Galata is, venting on him, and he's like, "No, I wanted Longo to kill Gavv. That's not what or Red Gavv, as they always call him." Akagav. It's like, no, I wanted him to kill him. That was my point, and it didn't work out. And just, he is left at the end of the show, he sacrifices himself to save Lizelle at the end, taking the final blow. But he's just like a profoundly broken person.
Bringing him full circle, where he was when Sheeta pushed him out of the way,
Yep.
and this time he pushed Lizelle out of the way.
Yep.
I really like how they had a full circle moment with him.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly feel like between him and Niel, I think he's the more well-rounded of a character, because we do end up getting to spend quite a bit of time with that character afterwards. Mm-hmm. We get to see how he got to this point. I think the biggest thing is it's when G is at the end of one of the episodes where they end up talking to one of the part-timers, or talking about one of the part-timers that just got taken out.
Yeah.
He walks off, and they don't make it super clear if he planned on running into her,
Mm-hmm.
or if this is just a spur of the moment decision when he was crying in the Granute world. I feel like they could have done a little bit better on that part.
You're talking about when he meets Lizelle for the first time?
Yeah.
It seems like he's just like in the Granute world, like in a public setting.
Yeah.
And she just sort of happened upon him.
Yeah. Which, I mean, that's perfectly fine. And he ends up becoming vice president of the company and everything after the
takeover.
Yeah.
Takeover by marriage.
Yeah. He almost considered suicide. I mean, he was in a really dark place.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah. And then Revenge.
Revengeance.
Just like, I'm going to use this to my advantage. And that's how we get the whole thing with Lizelle and her father.
Mm-hmm.
Lizelle's an interesting character. But I don't think that the show gave her...
They don't do a lot with her.
No.
When she first shows up, and, in her subsequent introduction, it's like, okay, so she's like the Hime-san who is, who likes cute, broken things, cares not for the feelings of others, and she's going to be like, I don't know, like a sadistic, like, I'm going to kill you, but I'm going to laugh about it and do the Oto-sama laugh. And that's not really what happens with her, because they don't give her much to do.
Yeah.
I feel like that's definitely a part of her personality, but as far as her, like, going to the human world, it doesn't happen very much.
I was like, oh, look at all the things that I found.
Yeah.
It feels very Ariel-esque from The Little Mermaid.
Except, like, evil, and she's stealing them all. Ariel is just, like, combing the sea and, like, taking what she finds. Ariel's not, like, breaking into shops on the human land and... just being like, okay, I'll take this with me now, and then Butler beats up the shop owner.
Yeah.
But it is very much a, look at this stuff, isn't it neat?
Yeah.
Look at these things that I found.
Also love the fact that when he ends up fighting Lakia near the end, he's just trying to get Masaru and Sachika away from him because they've been infected by the mind control by everybody else. But I feel like Lakia could have beat the brakes off of him as Bitter Gavv, as Alamode.
You're talking about Jeeb?
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like he was about to lose that, but, Lakia was preoccupied with saving them. So,
do we feel we've said everything we need to about Lizelle? Because I feel like I have. I don't think I have anything else to add.
Yeah,
not much there. I mean, the way the show ends with her stuck. I will say, if they decide to go revisit this character in a movie,
they are. She'll be in the
okay, because I think it is interesting to have her be upset because like her love was taken away, but because like her toys were broken.
Yeah.
And I think like it is going to be like that like level of like spoiled child that we're going to be dealing with, having a tantrum, and it's like a dangerous temper tantrum at this point.
I don't know. I think
So
in the picture we've like seen her sitting with some other girls or something. But I mean, she could just be working at Wendy's.
Oh, we've seen like production stills already.
Yeah, she could just be working at McDonald's. She has to do something, I guess, because she's stuck there
collecting Happy Meals.
Yeah, I'm excited to see exactly what they'll do with her, but I think Jeep is a much more interesting character, and you know, I liked his arc well enough to where we get back to where we are at the end, with him coming full circle from Sheeta and seeing her at the end is like, oh, I understand why you did this for me.
That was a nice scene.
Yeah,
good moment.
Let's talk about Glotta.
Okay, moving on to Glotta. Sadistic, mean older sister.
Mother, but I underutilized.
Yeah, I agree. Again, the villains in the show, they don't really do much.
No. And it's sad.
They're mostly there in the Granute world. Coming to the human world is like beneath them. They delegate everything to minions and agents.
Yeah.
So
she's very, very strong. I also like her power set is quite different. I think it works a little bit like Bishop. She does like shock absorption.
It's like the Black Panther suit.
Yeah.
The way it absorbs kinetic energy and then can like release it as a blast, and that's how they end up defeating her, which is pretty interesting. Where they just overwhelm her with just attack on attack on attack, and it just her body can't process all that energy, and she just dies.
Yeah, Ram kills her.
Yeah.
To be fair, deserved. She was the one who killed his brother.
She was a very bad person.
And she killed Dente.
Yes.
I mean, she was losing it at the end. Is just like, oh, she cares so much about her family, and she wants them all to stay together and everything, but that never really comes through.
Again, it's an interesting reconciliation of like, what is it that I actually want?
Yeah. It's
like, I'm out here for revenge. I'm out to cause violence. Don't you get it? I'm evil. That's what I do. And then Dente hits her with, you're a selfish girl and you care about your family deeply. You don't want your family to be separated.
Yeah, and, she felt a little bit sad about Sheeta's death, but it doesn't really come through.
The one that hit her the most was Longo when she thought he was gone.
Yeah.
But then he shows up.
At the very end.
At her moment of death and is like cradling her and is like, I will have my revenge. Or whatever he freaking says.
She wanted to protect the family and she could not do that.
But yeah. I think we've said all we need to say about her.
Yeah,
I don't
heels.
Okay.
But
I will say, costumes, great. Costumes, great.
Mother.
Monster form, great.
Yeah.
For all of these characters, I think. I like that they're based on Norse mythology monsters for the Stomach family, and that it's eldritch gods for Zhaldak.
She was quite sadistic.
Yep.
And, she really did not care about humans at all. She's the one who ends up crushing her stepmother in front of Shoma's mother.
Yeah.
She did not care anybody who was below her station.
Nope. Just a very bad person.
Yeah, she's just really strong, but they did not do enough for her characterization. She felt lost, and they did mention that actually in the show. Like, he's like, you have no direction, which she didn't. But I'm just like, I feel like y'all could have gave her one instead of just, I suddenly sort of tangentially care about my family.
Again, they focus everything on the heroes. The villains get backloaded in the latter third of the show, and they cram a lot in there.
Yeah. I just like, this is one of those things where I think caking is also just my favorite form. Not because of the fact that they use it as much as they did, but because that was sort of the reason why they were able to beat Glotta.
Yeah.
Because the caking form and the two whip soldiers just overwhelmed her.
Love those two.
Yeah.
Shall we move on to Nielev?
Nielev, they gave him so much at the end.
Like
he's the one who almost immediately...
Him at the very end especially.
Yeah, you get his whole personality and reasoning ends up getting very reshaped.
Yeah.
For why things were happening at the end of this show. And I think that's really interesting. I think it's great for what they did with him. I liked his, I'm a mad scientist, but there are other things I want to do. I want to protect my family, make sure I don't want to rule anything. I'd rather be number 2.
I just want to be in the background so I can do my science.
Yeah,
that's what gives me the most joy.
All the science.
Mm-hmm.
So much science.
But he does it for the purposes of evil.
Yeah. And he also gave Suga the granite organ to put into Kinzo.
I liked that.
Hanto.
I liked that dynamic of like the 2 mad scientists working with each other to see who can do the most mad science.
Yeah. That
was a fun little dynamic, but it doesn't get explored very much.
Although
I think they give you enough, but it's what it is.
Explore a little bit more in the CD drama, as I said.
There you go.
I do like the fact that they pressed Shoma's mother, but they could not press him. So after Shoma ends up getting locked in his room, Neil was the one who lets him go.
Yeah, just as an experiment.
Yeah, he had the potential to become
the
more
agent
powerful.
that he ran past was just like could have easily stopped him, but it was like Shoma, Nyup-sama, he is left.
Yeah,
just a quick thing over the radio, and off he is.
Like he showed us, like, this guy can become more powerful and help us fight off any enemies that we.
And ultimately, he manipulates Shoma into coming into the Granude world to try and take out what's his name, Baldak.
Yeah,
Baldak, who was the head of Baldak Jaladak, I think is his name.
Who is the president?
The president, Cthulhu. They see the disguise. He defeats him. Shoma goes back to the human world. And we get a reconciliation with his friends. You idiot, how dare you leave us, you fool.
He also has a couple of contingency plans, especially with Lakia, because he's the one who was coming up with the Vashram gear for Lakia.
I think my favorite moment with him, though, was when President just confronting him after his coup was uncovered. And he's just got like a finger laser pointed at him, ready to just blow him to bits. And he just, on the spur of the moment, is just like panicking and comes up with a last minute plan. It's like, send me to the human world, I'll kill Gavv, and then I can be not killed, maybe.
Also, the fact that he always has a contingency plan going on. With the Vashram gear. He never told his family about the Vashram gear and the fact that he made it. Mm-hmm. He's just like, he backstabbed me. Mm-hmm. Well, another day of science.
Yep. More science.
Yeah, he wanted to overthrow the Jaldak family at the end.
I think we should talk about the president before we move to Longo.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't talking about Neo.
Oh, okay.
But they end up tying in together. But this is one of those things where he wanted Shoma to take over the Jaldak world. He gave all the presses back, as he promised he would, because he is not there to just cause pain and agony. He is there to do his science.
He doesn't care about dark treats and dark treat production. He doesn't care about
he did take over.
True, but he doesn't really care about that. What he really cares about is, again, science.
And his family.
Science and family, but mostly science.
But mostly science. Yeah, I love everything that he did with...
how many more experiments can I do?
Because Jaldak was the one who gave him the... I blanked out for a second. Jaldak was the one who gave him the body of the other Granude that had originally gone when we first see Gavv.
Yep.
He ends up getting just knocked the fuck out.
And then he
blasts him through a mountain.
Yeah.
Or like a big hill. Gavv just annihilates him.
Yep.
And I love how much we get of Niel's character development. Although it happens really quickly, I think it's sort of well done because I like the reframe of everything that he had done up to that point. Everything with Suga, everything with Suga's body.
Didn't entirely work for me, but I'm glad it did for you.
Yeah, I just think it really worked for him specifically because, this is why he did this. This is why he did this. This is why he did this. To see how much he could do because eventually somebody more powerful was going to come along, the president. Mm-hmm. And he was just like, I can finally use Shoma and then we can finally, just have a conversation and see what we can do about the president. I think the biggest thing of why this worked between him and Shoma is because Shoma was, at this time, Shoma was going through it. He couldn't really transform. None of the Gochus was really coming out. He was sort of depressed. And this is the first time that one of his siblings had actively wanted to talk to him. Mm-hmm. He couldn't get that with Shita and Jeeb, although he tried. He couldn't get that.
So sad.
Yeah, he couldn't get it.
Offering them flowers on their birthday and they just knock him out of his hands.
The flashback before he killed Shita was wild. I'm just like, okay, this is where we're going to go for the rest of this show. But I really like the fact that, we can have a relationship of some kind. At least that's how I interpreted it. And that's sort of why Shoma went with it, but he didn't tell anybody else about it because it could have backfired. And it did. And with all the dummy Gochizos and zombie sugar, and them throwing Hanto off of a balcony.
It does happen. It does happen.
I liked it a lot, but I love seeing him just try these experiments going forward. And of course, at the end of the day, when it backfired. Because he thought that he could outsmart the president.
And he did not.
He could hypnotize him, but of course the president set up some anti-hypnotist thing.
This is the one thing he had to make a contingency for on the fly.
Yeah.
The one time you see him, like, truly panic.
Yeah. Boka. Jadaku.
Boka, that's it.
But yeah, I really liked him. I wish he didn't go out the way that he did. Where, I implanted bombs into all of these Gochizos to make sure that your plan failed, but Boka's just like, well, I have all these butlers, and they went ahead and returned that, so the bomb was actually in your trigger, so when he set it off, it killed you.
Yeah.
It felt like it happened too suddenly.
You could say that about a lot of the things that happen at the end of the show.
That's fair.
Are we done with Niliv?
Yeah, I liked his character. Also, I don't know why this is such a me thing. Mm-hmm. His actor did it for me.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah, he's also hot. But like I said, that's
a lot of attractive people in the show.
There are a lot of attractive people. Boka.
Again, don't do much with him.
No, I think he's a good threat.
He's a good threat, but it doesn't really feel that way when he comes to the human world, wipes the floor with our heroes, and then is like, I will let you go for now, and then leaves.
That is one of those things. Okay, I have such a huge problem with that specifically. I've talked about it before, but it's one of those things we're going to wait for. Boka himself, I liked his personality. I'm better than you, and I know it. Which is where his daughter gets it.
Yeah.
And, it shows when he finally goes, like, full monster form and just beats the crap out of everybody until Longo stabs him in the back.
Mm-hmm.
Literally.
That was a great moment, though.
Oh, yeah, it was. I really...
And that it's, a backstab and then 3 rider kicks simultaneously is what it takes to take him out.
And I love how Niel's whole thing was to use Sugar to see how strong the hypnosis was, and that he tried to use it on Bulk and it didn't work. Mm-hmm. So he ends up basically torturing Niel to work for him again. And then Niel tried to backstab him, and Bulk is just like, I'm playing 5D chess, you're playing checkers. I'm playing chess through time and space. Mm-hmm. And then it ends up literally blowing up in Niel's face and killing him.
Yep.
I appreciate him always having a contingency plan. And him going to the human world the first time with Liesel and them just walking around is like, we can use this place to set up a farm for humans. Mm-hmm. I thought that was really interesting. I liked his character enough for what the character was. I didn't feel like that character needed a ton. I will say one of the things I will appreciate between both him and Longo at the end, it's been a little while since we've had a non-Kamen Rider, since we had like a monster, a kaiju, or in this case, just
Kaijin.
Yeah, Kaijin, as the main final villain instead of a rider. So I appreciate that. But yeah, I think Boka did his job well enough. Longo.
Okay, so we're here. Longo
killed the father by poisoning him. Which
here's one thing in this show that I really just raised an eyebrow at. They treat that like it's some kind of grand reveal.
And it isn't.
They're like, yes, Shoma, it was I, Longo, who killed your father. And I'm like, was this a mystery? Was this something you wanted us to be surprised about?
I think it's one of those things where...
Because honestly, who else would it have been? It's like, I thought this was a given.
It could have been the president, but that wouldn't have made any sense.
That wouldn't have made any sense at all.
He wants the Stomach family to stand above everybody else.
And he wants power.
And he's willing to go do any lengths to get it because he just will poison. The biggest issue with Longo, and this is I've talked about it before. I hate when the final form shows up and does not kill somebody.
in the case of Gavv as well, they also give him another form after that. And
the Berserker form for the more or less part.
Yeah. But yeah, the fact that Longo survived somehow
pisses me off.
It pisses me off as well.
I don't like it.
And then we get to the end, we get to the finale.
Where he comes back.
In
a cape.
He's just back. He's got wings now. And the fact that it's like he has to go from master form down to gummy form to defeat him. He has to go start at his like I would say his like second most powerful form because of the Berserker one. But like going from that down to his base and then defeating him somehow, like, I'll admit it's...
Also, he turned into feathers. What was that? But Longo himself...
Because he's a dragon, he wouldn't have feathers.
I guess. But he also just was not around enough to warrant him being the final villain.
I don't know. I feel like the way this show was written up to this point, regardless of who had been the final villain, it would have been disappointing. I don't think there was a right way to do this with how they had written the script up to this point.
Yeah. I feel like the script
if it had been Glota, that would have been disappointing. If it had been Jeeb, that would have been disappointing. If it were Boca, that would have been disappointing. The Zell would have been disappointing. Nobody would have worked. And the route that they picked, specifically with Longo, I feel like is the worst one they could have done.
I agree.
Because of the fact that he just came back somehow.
Yeah.
The fact that, like, it's just like, oh, he survived somehow.
Oh, I went to go see my sister after she got murdered or killed or whatever.
It doesn't make any sense.
No, Longo, because...
It does. I'm like, how? How did he survive that? That does not make sense.
How did he survive? His motivation isn't strong enough.
It's just, I want power.
Yeah.
I want power.
Which is, like, fine if we would have gotten a little bit more of a backstory on him and, you know, what really led for him.
I mean, a villain who is just like, I'm bad at... Okay, go ahead.
Because I feel like we would have gotten more on exactly why he killed their father. You feel like the father didn't go far enough, which you sort of allude to, and they do, you know, state a couple of things. But they don't do enough with that statement to make it seem like, oh, he wants to keep going.
Mm.
And then you have the president come in and take over everything, which I can understand if it came off that he was a lot more bitter about it, if he was a lot angrier, and you really got to explore more of those emotions with him. We don't get to spend any real time with Longo to know the inner machinations of his mind. Mm-hmm. And unlike Niel, so that's why I think Niel was such a much better and well-written character in comparison to him. Niel should not have been the one at the end, and he didn't want to be. But Longo, you didn't set up this character enough to warrant him being the final villain. But like you said, it wouldn't have really worked. Whoever.
I don't think... Yeah, the way they've written up to that point, I think either end would have been disappointing. But again, to get back to Longo, a villain who is like, I am bad and I know that I'm bad and I love that I'm bad, that can be fine. There's nothing wrong with
That's usually fun.
Yeah, you can have a lot of fun with that type of person, with that type of villain.
Didn't work in Gotchar, but damn.
And then you have this guy who is just like, okay, so maybe he was like angry that like he wanted more power and dad was like keeping him from the power. I can do better with this company. He doesn't really seem to be enjoying what he's doing.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
There's no enjoyment.
He's just so serious all the time.
There's no feeling of satisfaction from him. We don't get that.
You don't get. It's like when he reveals that he is the one who killed Gav's father. He doesn't say it with pride. He doesn't say it with triumph. He was just like, "Yes, I did that.
He doesn't.
That was an obstacle in my path to power."
He doesn't give a monologue a la Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Remember when I spoke just like this?
When I killed your brother, I talked just like this!
If we would have gotten something like that, would have been great. But we never got like any sort of real emotion from him. You're welcome.
I'm grateful. I'm very grateful.
The waveform. But I just... And I sort of hate saying this is what I wanted, but this is something that I feel like the show should have shown. We should have just gotten more from the character. I mean, if we would have gotten something a little bit from Longo, just some sort of non-serious emotion, it would have been a little bit more fun. And you sort of see that a little bit early on where it's just like, oh, I'm going to marry you two off. Like, I'm doing this for power and money.
Yep.
But it doesn't really come off with the character going forward. And also, I hate the fact that you have Sachika see him for the first time, and then you have, their sort of little thing later on. I was like, oh, are they going to do Shoma's mother again? I almost thought they were going to go that route. Sort of happy that they didn't. But the fact that she sees Longo so early on, and we really don't see him outside the stomach ink again, I think that hurts the character.
Yeah. I think the finale is disappointing.
Very.
I think it's not a good conclusion to the show.
No.
But all that said, I still think the show is quite good.
Even
with our problems that we have with the letter, because I think because I finished watching it yesterday. I watched the last 8 episodes or so yesterday, and there came a point where I got to episode 40 where I was kind of scratching my head and going where's this gonna go? Truly, the way they plan and map out the space that they are in, you always get such a good sense of space,
especially with something like caking in that long runway it had with the candles on it. I thought that was so cool.
There's that, and just people, the way they will use drones to zoom in and around a building, and the way they will digitally insert the fight into that. The effect, again, I said for the most part, pretty seamless. It looks really good. The moves and you mentioned in the first impressions, the fact that somebody tweeted at was it this or Gozuger?
Gozuger.
Okay, but either way, the way it does feel very fighting game-esque.
Yeah.
The way they are mixing up stances, the way they're mixing up powers, the way they're using the environment, how characters will it'll be a dolly shot coming back, and the character will jump through an obstacle we didn't see was there, and the fight will continue, and they'll be running on two sides of a wall, blasting at each other through a concrete wall, while the camera is just following them as they both run on either side. You know what
that Master's first appearance sort of reminded me of Kabuto's the second episode when he first goes clock up.
Okay.
And they're fighting on top of the the cars, and Kabuto ends up putting those people on the hook to save their the car from the truck from exploding, and on the roller coaster and things like that. It just really reminds me of that. And that one shot of, I think it was Master standing on top of that really high ladder.
I'm pretty sure that was a practical.
That was a
practical. They had the stunt performer up there, and the suit actor is on top of this tall metal tower.
The way I would have said, hell no.
I do not like heights.
He was probably holstered and stuff in, and they probably edited that out.
Yeah, but he could have been on a crane with a harness.
It reminds me of that one episode of V3 when they did that as well, and I'm just no, not. Please go on Red's YouTube channel, because it's talking. I think it was one of the older Sentai actors. It talked about him just being in a helicopter. Wild. I really want him to get an interview with Kenji, but please don't. I want to hear the stories.
I want the stories. I want a full 3-hour podcast.
I listen to all
of that man telling his life story.
Jesus.
And all the shows that he's been in. But so fight choreography, excellent.
Cinematography, very well done.
Very good. The whole look of the show, great. Editing, great. I like the costumes. I like the forms. I have to talk about the Berserk form as well. Shoma's Berserk form, the red one, and that he gets at the end.
The one that lasts 30 seconds.
I really like how that one's used. I love that because he reaches over and he grabs a handful of rocks and a handful of gummies.
And blood.
Yeah, but he's embracing both halves of his body. And that is what really gives him that extra boost, embracing both his granute half and his human half. And it's both that make me who I am. and none of this is explicitly stated. This is just like the read I got from like stuff going on under the surface. But the combining of like eating the rocks with eating the snacks,
eating the blood.
He'd been punched a lot. It happened. But yeah, that, and then it's just a really cool looking form. I love the use of cake with the minions. I love the squeezable part of the sword.
That's a fun
as the whipped cream. It's not a baster. What would you call that?
Pipe.
Yeah, a piping gun. Thank you.
Yeah.
But that I really like the gummy armor, how that can be
broken off,
and then he can put another one in that can regrow it. The chips fighting at the angle. The episode where Hanto makes like a pool of chocolate that he then dips the potato chip swords in and then is able to use them, and they're more durable because they're covered in a hard chocolate shell.
Which is very cool.
Genius. I love that.
Zakasaka Chips' first appearance at him figuring out how the weapons work. Is
just like clacking it against the metal when it doesn't work, and then like slicing it at an angle, and he's like, now I get it.
I like it when he had to figure out things.
Yes.
It's very cool. I think this show is overall very good. I just think that they could not stick the ending. That last fight between Shoma and Longo, not to mention just like the whole downgrade of forms each time, was very understated.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like,
the stakes are not there.
Yeah. Although I do love the fact that he did the pose outside of the suit. That's always something cool.
Yeah.
It really reminds like the helmetless roll call. But yeah, I really wish we would just gotten... The ending is missing oomph. I feel like the last bit of oomph that we got is when Longo backstabbed Balka and then immediately turned on everybody after saying, we're going to work together. And just like, they all knew.
But then he just immediately dies in the next episode.
Yeah,
so
like, it's funny because they all knew.
Yeah.
But yeah, the show just didn't stick the landing for me. I think that's where I end up with the show.
I agree. I do think it's nice to watch a Kamen Rider that's good. It is nice to watch a Kamen Rider that's good because it has been...
That wave.
It's less of a wave and more of like a trough.
Also, I love how we just...
Because for me, it was like Geats and then like nothing else.
It's something I've noticed over the past
couple
years.
It's Geats and then this and then like nothing else.
It's hilarious because this is something I've noticed over the past couple of years. Everybody seems to constantly forget about Revice, and I think that is a good thing.
Well, I would remember if we reviewed a show called Kamen Rider Revice.
Yeah, I remember.
Surely one of the actors didn't do anything problematic.
And or racist.
Yeah.
Mostly racist.
That is problematic.
I know. The whole thing... Oh, God. That's why I won't make any cards for him for Heroes of the Grid. I refuse to make anything for that season solely because of him.
There you go.
But yeah.
We did a dinosaur Kamen Rider. It sucks.
Yeah. I like I said, I like the show well enough. It's just the ending. But yeah.
But Kamen Rider Gavv, good show overall.
Yeah.
And next...
We got Dogenger Season 2.
Yes. We are reviewing... let me pull it up. So it's Dogenger Season 2, and then...
A skip.
Ultraman Taro is after that.
Excited. I'm not excited.
Why aren't you excited?
So the opposite.
Why wouldn't you be excited?
I'm just so unbelievably unexcited.
I just don't understand.
So let's see. We had Dogengers on the 21st. We have Taro on the 5th of October. On the 19th, there will be no video for that weekend because I'm moving the 17th.
Yes.
So that whole week is just going to be me getting life together.
Mm-hmm.
But then we'll be back hopefully the 26th when I have everything set up again.
Yes.
Yeah.
That'll do it for Gavv.
Let us know what you thought about it in the comments
show.
below. Don't forget to join us for all the things. We'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.
Thank you for watching.